So hey guys, it's Stephanie here to talk about Curtis Sittenfeld's Eligible, which is a modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice. I mean, actually the title is Eligible, a modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice, so I'm sure you could have put that together. I really liked this book. I was actually lucky enough to get this as an advanced reader copy from NetGalley, and I was super stoked because this was actually a book that I had had my eye on for a while, so I might have freaked out a little when I found out I was going to get a copy of it. And let me tell you, I was not disappointed. The story of Eligible starts out with Chip Bingley, who was a contestant on the Bacheloresque show Eligible, which is where the title comes from, obviously. And he is most famous for not picking either of the last two ladies when it gets down to the final two, and for crying a lot during the finale. So anyway, now that the show's over, he didn't pick either of the two ladies. He is a doctor and he finds himself taking a position at Christ Hospital in Cincinnati along with his other doctor friend, Mr. Darcy. And this does not go unnoticed by the Bennet family, especially Mrs. Bennet, who is freaking out about her 5 adult unmarried daughters, especially her oldest two that are pushing 40, Jane and Lizzie. And well, you know the rest. So let's talk about what's good and what's bad. So there was a lot I liked about this book. I mean, this is quite an endeavor because Pride and Prejudice is a book that so many people hold near and dear to their hearts, and people get a little defensive whenever a new adaptation comes out. I mean, just look at all the hostility towards like the 2004 Keira Knightley version, and just to see what I'm saying, which I love that version, by the way. But anyway, I'm going to say she did a really good job of taking the characters and navigating them through 21st century dating. Which is obviously going to be a lot different from the original. You know, no one gets courted anymore. There are so many things that are different. I liked that she changed the characters' ages to really match what's going on in our society today. People are getting married later in life. No one freaks out if you're 24 and not getting married. And I'm going to say, if you're a fan of The Bachelor, or if you're not really a fan, but you hate watch it, or it's your guilty pleasure, I'm guilty of that. You will definitely enjoy this book. I thought it was very well researched. I actually listened to her interview on NPR, and she was talking about how she actually called up the producers and asked them how the things work behind the scenes. So all those scenes are written very realistically, and a lot of those are true to what it is actually like to film a reality dating TV series like that. So all those scenes I found really, really interesting because I am one of those basic girls that loves The Bachelor, even though I think it's stupid, and I understand why people hate it because it's a dumb premise, but I love it and I'm not ashamed, and I loved this book. So if you're a fan of shows like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, you will definitely enjoy that aspect of it because I found those chapters to be like so fun to read about. That there was a couple things in the original that I didn't really understand, like the Bennet's financial situation, because Mrs. Bennet makes constant comments that they are poor and penniless, but you see that they live in this huge house. They are obviously society. They get invited to these parties. They have hired help. So I was very confused about what she meant by being penniless. I guess that meant like lower upper class. Like, is that a thing? So in this, because it is modern times, they go through and explain what exactly their financial situation is and why they have all these things but are still considered penniless. So I liked that that was explained a little better because I don't think I really understood what their status was in the original. I will say the only people I can see not enjoying this are probably people who don't enjoy a lot of pop culture in their books, which I don't know why they would read modernizations of any kind. This book I didn't feel had a lot of pop culture in the sense of like movie titles or song titles or like bands thrown in there, more along the lines of cultural fads. Like Lydia and Kitty are in their early 20s and they're all about CrossFit and paleo. And at first when I read it, I was actually a little annoyed that Lydia and Kitty were very much like the Gen Y caricature of what millennials are. But then the more I thought about it, I remembered that Kitty and Lydia, even in the Jane Austen original, are selfish and entitled, whiny brats. So I felt like I was a little okay with it, and it fit a little more with that context. The only other thing I didn't like was that Lizzie's relationship with Darcy, I found her to be a little whiny. She's not as unaffected as she is in the Jane Austen book. She kind of has this attitude of, I'm going to do my own thing and I don't care what you say. And During her meetings with Darcy, she hears him say something rude and she confronts him about it, but it's in the way it comes off like, I heard what you said, and like, I don't even care. Whatever. You think whatever you want. Like, obviously, she's very hurt. She was wearing her emotions on her sleeve too much, and I think I preferred the original Lizzie that was more collected. Like, come on, modern Lizzie, that is not how you play the game, you know? Anyway, so that was really my only problem with her. Other than that, I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was written very well. I'm glad she did not take modernization to mean dumbing down the writing in any way. I thought it was really well written. I loved all the characters. I loved seeing how she took these characters and put them in a 21st century setting. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you again soon.